There we go. Hello, this is Noel Camilotes for Entertainment Media, and this is ChatterBox. Hello again, this is Ian Camilotes for Entertainment Media, and I'm here at Anime Magic with Alejandro Saab.
What up, what up?
So, what's up? How's it going?
It's going well. I'm chilling.
You liking the con so far? I know we were just talking about lunch.
Yeah. I mean, the con's been super fun. It's been nice meeting a bunch of different fans for all different types of fandoms. So,
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Is this your first time in Chicago? Or
This is my third time in Chicago. I remembered the last time I was in Chicago. I did not remember the time before that. I also didn't remember that I've been in this hotel. So I was like, oh, I've been here before. This all looks familiar. And I had to research and be like, when have I been here? So
okay, so
yeah.
you get a little experience already with this area and everything.
A little bit.
So one of the things you're known for is voice acting.
What?
One of the questions that is what got you into voice acting? Like, what drew you towards that?
I mean, a bunch of different things. A buddy of mine asked me when I was in high school if I would voice this cop for him. I was still going through puberty, and I was like, yeah, sure. So I was like, so you're acting. Yeah, I didn't sound right, so I pitch shifted my voice to sound lower, and it was like, so I just sounded muffled. And eventually, I just stopped using the pitch filter, and then eventually I was like, I kind of like that. And then I started doing it more and more, and I looked into acting and like improv and writing in theater and all these different things. And then also just liking anime and realizing, oh, this is a thing, you know? So the anime that definitely clicked with me being that it was a thing was a show called Kenichi the Mightiest Disciple.
Okay.
Yeah.
And then you continue going on from there in terms of taking other roles.
Oh, yeah.
But you started originally with just like more of like your friend's project.
Yeah, I started with my friend's project. I've like been in machinimas, in visual novels, in indie games. That's how I started. I started actually pursuing it in like 2012. And in the industry, I didn't start until November of 2015.
Okay. Did you get an agent right by then? Or?
I didn't have an agent until I moved to California in 2019.
Oh, gotcha. So you were already starting to do voice acting.
Yeah.
So, gotcha. Okay. So what are some of the roles that you love the most doing in terms of getting in the booth or recording?
That I'm still doing, or just in general?
In general.
It's tough because it's like every day I feel like it's different. Like some days I'm like, I'm feeling comedic today. And then some days I'm like, nah, I'm feeling depressed. give me something more serious. So, but off the top of my head, Sino is always a fun one. Jingyuan from Honkai Star Rail is always a fun one. Shallot from Dragon Ball, because it's Dragon Ball.
Can't get away from Dragon Ball.
Nope. The one that I always loved was going to Sleepy Princess and the Demon Castle because I would just work with my best friend. Horimiya, especially right now because we're working on the second season, but the second season is technically stuff that happened during the first season because it's filling in the blanks of all the stuff we didn't cover in the first season. So there's just a bunch of different stuff. It really depends on the day.
Well, what about roles? Are there any roles that you feel are difficult? I mean, you're still able to pull off, but are ones that are challenging for you?
Ooh, I don't know about nowadays. I feel like the most pressure I felt recording for a character is probably for Persona 3 Reload.
Okay.
Akihiko, because we're taking over for the legacy cast, and in my case, I was taking over for Liam O'Brien, who did fantastic in the original Persona 3, but like the nerves of it's like, oh god,
you're filling in a role.
Yeah, and with how Persona fans love Persona fans, and I love Persona, but it's like, I mean, when there's always a recast, there's always going to be a bit of like, not drama per se, but like hesitance, because of nostalgia, and they're already used to a voice. So
plus more of the judgmental things like, oh, are you going to match this?
Yeah, exactly.
That, so.
But even then, it's been pretty welcoming, and I will say that probably has been the most challenging out of any recent thing. So
okay. With your voice acting, now this is an interesting thing.
Okay.
Now we've already heard from a few other interviews, but it's one of those things that I didn't expect. I've had friends talk. I didn't even know this existed. So
okay.
You've been doing media content for quite some time, but you got into VTubing
Yes.
with CyYuVtuber.
CyYuVtuber, yeah.
So how did you get into that, and like what other than what inspired you, but what were the steps that you got had to get into that kind of hobby?
Well, originally it started off as a joke. Like I was just like, I'm gonna do a gag, and then a friend of mine, Iron Mouse, she was like, oh, you should really do it. I was like, okay, I'll look into it. And then I was like, well, I've always needed a mascot for this cover band I have called Weeby, where I just do song covers and stuff for like anime and video games. And I was like, I always needed a mascot. Maybe it'll be that. And I was like, and worst case scenario, if I don't end up VTubing, it'll be a mascot for the thing. So I was like, okay. And then Iron Mouse just kind of helped me out a lot. She hooked me up with like the team that originally helped her with her models, Iron Vertex, and they've been helpful ever since. They helped me look for the artists. They helped me look for the people who are gonna animate the model and all this stuff.
Rigging and everything.
Yeah. And they've been super helpful. Even now, they still help me come up with new designs, which I'm currently working on one right now. And but the design, I've always been a fan of Mega Man. So I was like, oh, what if we like make it Mega Man style, like Mega Man X, and it could have like a cool cloak like Gunful, and then it could be the headphones of like Yo Asakura from Shaman King, and it could have these lines like in Cave Story, because I really like those lines from that one robot in Cave Story. So it was just like me nerding out and being like, oh, what works here? So yeah, and that's kind of how it came about, and the name is just a joke that is not a joke anymore about cyborgs taking over. Yeah, it's cyborg CyYu, yeah.
Okay. With the experience then you have with content producing, it shouldn't be too hard for you to come up with ideas for that VTubing. Where do you come up with those ideas?
I mean, I think the biggest trouble I have right now with content producing is time. Because I'm so busy doing voiceover and conventions and the VTubing and song covers.
Do you have like a regular schedule then?
Yeah, my regular schedule is 9 to 6 is voiceover, and then the rest of the time is everything else. Oh. And even then, right now, I'm working on a project with a studio where I'm helping them like cast and like direct a thing, and that's so I'm like, oh yeah, let me add more to the plate that was already full. So, but. It can be rough sometimes. I have a lot of people helping me out. Like I have like a little team, because I have like a YouTube channel where if people miss out on a stream, they could just watch it, called CyYuVod. So then it's like, oh, I missed out on Monday's stream. Well, I could just watch it there. And I have a buddy of mine. His name is Simba, and he's one of my mods, and I pay him to like handle that channel completely. So then I don't even have to worry about it. I have another buddy of mine, his name is Sylvie, and he edits all my clips that I post on like TikTok and Instagram and all that stuff. So I've assembled a little team to make it easier on me. So then I'm not doing all the work, but I still have like some say in like what gets posted and that kind of thing.
Gotcha. Have you ever thought about being able, or would you be allowed to even use some of the voices of some characters that you have from some of the projects you worked on, for your streams or for your content?
I mean, it depends. I could read lines. Like if I'm playing Honkai Star Rail and then there's dialogue of Genuine that isn't voiced, I'll just be like, I'm reading the line, like that kind of thing. But I don't go out of my way to if a fan asks me if I could record for their fanfic or something, I can't do that.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Well, for your own content though,
it depends. It depends, because it's if it's in game, it's fine because it's the dialogue of the character. But it's if it's just me coming up with something, not really. The most I can do is dad jokes, right? So if a fan will be like, say a dad joke as Sino, right? I'll be like, what did the sushi say to the bee? Wasabi. It's just stupid. That they're totally okay with.
Okay. One last thing I wanted to ask, because I always ask a lot of my guests about their advice, but especially because you're an interesting guest that I've had, because you're the first VTuber I've interviewed.
You sure?
Again, I did not know about VTubing till a few months ago.
Sure. I feel like it's definitely taking a rise as more time comes, as more time occurs. I feel like VTubers are on the rise of getting notoriety, and I feel like Iron Mouse is definitely part of that reason. But
yeah, and I think with everything that happened the last few years, that's really what opened the doors
yeah.
too. So,
yeah.
But what advice do you have for anyone that wants to get into not just content producing online and social media, but also VTubing as well?
Don't spend all your money at once. But in seriousness, I say this with voiceover, and I honestly say this with a lot of things. Try it out. See if you like it. Because a lot of people just like the idea. Because like I'm like that. I've gone through phases of things I've wanted to try out. Like I've tried out puppeteering, and I'm like, well, I don't have the dexterity for it. I really want to try animated stories because there's the Odd Ones Out, Jaden Animation. You know, a bunch of people that would be like, hi, I'm animating this thing. And I was like, I don't have the time. And I can't come up with enough ideas. So I did like 2, and then I was out. But just try it out. See if you like it. And if you don't have the funds to spend right away, there's a thing called PNG tubing, where it's just you hire someone to draw like an image, draw one with a closed mouth and one with an open mouth, and then you use a website, and then it'll essentially just bobble it for you, so you're not spending as much money.
Okay.
Because a VTube model can cost you hundreds, if not thousands of dollars, right? But this PNG thing can cost you maybe like upwards of like maybe $100 to $200, probably less depending on the quality of art, right? But I would say take your time, don't spend all your money, and if you have fun and you want to pursue it, then do it. Plan it out. Don't just go, I'm going to spend all this money right off the bat, because sometimes it doesn't work out. And patience, because it's some people, they'll hit the ground running. Right? Like some people, they'll go, it's like, this is my first stream, and they'll have like 10,000 viewers or something. And then others will be like, this is my first stream, and 10 people will show up. But then it's, you know, some people, if they keep at it, then they'll see that those 10 go from 10 to like 100 to 1,000 to like 10,000. Because it's all about consistency and just, you know, just keep at it. And if you're having fun and people see that and they like that energy, they'll keep joining. Yeah.
Okay. Well, thank you so much for taking the time to speak with us about your career and then your VTubing, and we're looking forward to seeing more of you.
Of course. Thank you for having me.
Sure. Well, this is Ian Camilotes for Centertain Media, and thank you so much.